So what's the next risk?
So this is kind of like the one that we're going to end on, and it's actually going to spend some time on it. This is about the TREC advertising rules.
Oh, yes.
This is one, if you have not read them, you need to read them. I highly recommend that you go to it, go on TREC, and really look at some of the stuff. But I really want to make sure everyone understands about these. So TREC, do you know how many realtors are on? I actually don't even know.
I think it's over 40,000 now. I kind of make a joke. I make a joke sometimes.
It is a high number. What I actually think is amazing is that the real estate pack is the biggest pack that exists here in Texas, I believe. I think that was a fact I heard a couple weeks ago. That being said, there's a lot of realtors. So TREC is not going to be able to have the manpower to search every Facebook, every website, every billboard, and everything else. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't worry about it. And that doesn't mean you shouldn't do it correctly. And here's a reason why. We talked about earlier, if you have a grievance filed against you, they're not just gonna look at that one grievance. They're gonna go and they're gonna check you out. They're gonna go to your Facebook, they're gonna go to your website, they're gonna go and find out, are there other things? And if you've been now violating those other things, well, are they gonna believe you on this grievance? And so that's something that you really wanna think about. It can also haunt you for years to come if you don't do it correctly. So we wanna make sure that you don't get on that radar. Now, a couple other things. So ways to find out if you're on the radar, or once you're on their radar, is if someone filed a complaint against you. Also, if someone filed a complaint against your ad, and again, that unrelated issue is what I notice most of the time, where someone has something else completely different, and now this whole can of worm has been opened. So let's talk about this. So the steps you need to take to figure out if your ad is in compliance. For example, did you know what is an advertisement?
Yeah, we should define it. How does TREC define what an advertisement is?
So under the rule, and I won't give you the, I'm kind of a nerd that I love it's a rule like 535.155B. I love that kind of stuff, but it's anything, any communication by or behalf of a license holder designed to attract the public to use real estate brokerage services. And it kind of continues on, but it's very broad. So it means anything. We're not talking about just TV and radio. We're also talking about like social media, the internet, your business cards, any kind of thing in which you're trying to get like a business.
Sure.
And this kind of talks to me about social media. Most of us have a social media account, right? So do you think that we should have just one social media account or two social media accounts?
Well, I think one is best because they have to know what's the source of the representation, correct?
Well, yes, but I actually also think having your personal and your business and having them separate is the best way to go. This is really important. The reason I say this is that you on your personal can say, this is the brokerage that I'm a part of, here's my name, and here's my link to my actual business page. But it is always best to have them separate. And this is where I typically see a lot of people where they'll kind of intermingle. Well, gosh, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on politically, and sometimes people get a little politically like charged and want to say something. Well, now you've just said that on your business site. Is that what you want to be doing? I know that you want to show me what little Jimmy did, you know, funny thing and everything else, but that's your personal. Do you really want to overlap it? Right. And so I highly recommend that you keep them both separate.
Right. We don't want baby pictures, political statements, and real estate ads all in the same news feed.
Exactly. I always say, do not post about business like solicitations listing on your personal accounts. Just do not do it.
Yeah, and as far as advertising goes, if something happens later in a transaction, an attorney can go all the way back to the first ad, the first point of contact, the first entry into your pipeline, and maybe they find that the brokerage name wasn't at least 50% as large as your team name, and that just opens up that Pandora's box.